Hello, my fifth graders. Welcome back to grammar. Welcome to January. We finally made it. It's a whole new year. For you're gonna love this one. For our grammar this week, it's irregular nouns and verbs. And so there's not a whole lot of notes we're gonna take. We're gonna take a few notes and jot some ideas down. But the idea is irregular nouns and verbs don't follow the rules. They're those rule breakers. So irregular nouns and verbs. Now, hopefully at this point, you know the rules for making a noun. Basically, if it's a plural noun, you just add an S. If it ends in an F, you drop the F and add I-V-E-S. Or if it ends in a Y, you drop the Y and add IES. But for most of those rules, we've got some very clear rules that we can follow. For irregular nouns, they don't follow the rules. They're like, whatever. So, I don't have a fun video to show you. I did, while trying to find a fun video for irregular nouns, I found an amazing video for plural nouns, which is to the song of Frozen. So Miss Ermine is going to be really happy with me because she likes Frozen, or her daughters do. Irregular nouns don't follow the rules. Example time. Man, I have one man, two men. We don't have mans. Look at all the mans over there. Doesn't happen. I have one person, but I get a bunch of persons together, and I don't call them persons anymore. I call them people. I have one ox, more oxen. Yeah, I was doing different colors. Right? There are definitely some words that we always use plural, and so the singular version of that tends to trip us up. For example, teeth. There are a lot of teeth in my mouth. That is plural. Yes, it doesn't have an S because it's irregular, so it's not following the rules. Irregular means not regular, so it's not following the rules. So if I have all these teeth, I have one tooth. Now why? Why, English? Why do you do this to us? And it has to do with where our language comes from. And our language comes from a variety of different places. We have basically taken several languages and put them into one, which makes our rules not follow necessarily all the rules. Although, if you're taking any foreign language, you'll also know they have irregular nouns and verbs there too. So, what about women? I did man. I have one woman, two women. Whoa. Men, two women. Right? One goose. Sorry, I'm looking at something else. Two geese. I don't have any gooses. I have geese. And so those are just some examples. The list goes on. One cactus, two cacti, one die, two dice, one child, two children, one foot, two feet, one appendix, two appendices. That's on my list. And then there are some that just kind of stay the same. One fish, two fish. Don't usually use the word fishes because you could. One quail, two quail. One cod, two cod. One moose, two moose. So those are still considered irregular because they are not following the rules. 1 deer, 2 deer. Okay, so those are irregular nouns. We're going to move on to irregular verbs. An irregular verb, did you guess it? Is a verb that irregular verbs don't follow the rules. Now, it should be the present. The past. So we have the present tense, we have the past tense, we have the past participle. We're not going to talk about it. We have the present, we have the past, right? We have the base form. This is just the base form, and then we have the past tense. And sometimes they don't follow the rules. For example, ran and run. Today I run, yesterday I ran. It's not runned, right? The rule for verbs is supposed to end in ed. You're supposed to either add an ed or drop an e and add an ed, right? So any verb that doesn't follow that rule is considered irregular. Any verb that doesn't follow the ed rule is considered irregular. So here are some examples. Build. Today I build. Yesterday I didn't builded. I built. Why? Why doesn't it follow the rules? Don't know. My brother bites. But yesterday he bit me. Right? I will become, or no, that's not right. Begin. We can begin, but yesterday we began. We didn't beginned. So a lot of times, run. Today I run, yesterday I ran. I want to make sure I put them in the right spot. If I didn't, sorry. So a lot of the times, this just is irregular. They don't follow the rules. I wish I could give you rhyme or reason, like, hey, if it ends in a D, it's going to do this. There really isn't a rhyme or reason to these irregular verbs. Most likely they come from different tenses, and it's just kind of the way we do it. If you are a native English speaker, it becomes a lot easier. If you are not a native English speaker, because the reason why it becomes easier is because you've been taught this since you were little. My 3-year-old son goes, I'm going to go build it something. And I go, oh, you built it yesterday? So these corrections we do naturally. But when you're first learning a language, it becomes a lot harder. If you've ever tried to learn Spanish and they have all of those lists of irregular verbs and you're trying to conjugate ir because it means to go. And it just comes a completely different word. All right, so that's it for today. Those are the irregular verbs and irregular nouns. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye, you guys.